I just listened to the jazz classic Take Five, which was an everyday thing in my home. And I warned you that I was going to start talking about the 60s and 70s. Oh, God, some of that thump music. The music nowadays is fucking horrible. It's so uh, violent. It's so hateful. It's so. I want to talk about a different time in music. Speaking of Dave Brubeck and all that, Take Five was that's what Jack always used to warm up on the piano. He was a drummer also. Yeah, he was with a jazz band that played all around the Bay Area, and I never really asked to go. Even his wife didn't go very often. That was kind of Jack's thing. He tried to be as hip as he would. He was like one of the first people I saw that he wore his belt like with the belt buckle, over one loop, and he always wore usually kind of stylish zip up boots or whatever. And he was, to the best of my knowledge, a little funny Welsh Jew. His wife was a Polish Jew, Steinecke, and God, he loved football. I know he probably adored me because I was probably one of the best ball players he ever seen. But this is about the music because I've always loved music. I have mentioned before going to see Ravi Shankar. I may do that in greater length later because it was that night at the Stanford Amphitheater that I realized that I had been lied to my whole life until that point. Those time signatures that we claim to be original to American jazz, no, they've existed for thousands of years on the Indian subcontinent. So my whole life has been trying to separate the crap that I was taught in high school, like Paul Simon says, and what's real. And no, those incredible time signatures and I love Indian classical music. I mean, it's really cool shit. All the hippies loved Indian classical. Uh, Indian modern, oh, you suck. You suck as bad as our modern music and shit. Let's get real. You suck big ass. I've listened to modern Indian music. One of the things that even started me on this line was I was thinking about on my trip to my pharmacy yesterday and did a little shopping at Target, where I couldn't find a single sweet that was acceptable to me chemically. And both drivers one was a African Muslim. Name was spelled Tagay. Have no idea how to pronounce it. Tagay. I don't have. So when I was barely, you know, 14 years old, I already knew that I'd been lied to about jazz, the only original American music. Oh, hell no. I was going on a different tangent that I wanted to talk about a couple of, where was I thinking? Kind of want to present this in another video. I've already talked about how inexpensive it was to go and see the best acts in rock and roll, either at the Cow Palace, Wonderland, or Fillmore West. The wasn't Billy Graham, it was Bill Graham, the rock promoter. Never charged much. $2 to $3.50 was the. That's what I wanted to talk about. The famous Circle Star Theater. They have it only seats about 3,000 people, pretty much at most. But the stage is in the very center, and the stage revolves. And I'm sorry, I'm going to have my cigarette, or the video shall not be done. Because, I watched that highly racist Jamie Foxx portraying Ray Charles, but I saw Ray Charles. Now I'm having trouble remembering the year. I saw Ray Charles when he was still on heroin. And I always was even thinking to myself, I wonder if he's picking up a little, motion problems from that slowly revolving stage. And it was Ray Charles and the Raylettes, and it was like, about 90 to 100 minutes of just stomping, romping, stomping, ass kicking Ray Charles, man. I admire people that can overcome like that. There was a famous black man long before him named Blind Tom, who was one of those savants types. You could play it for him once, even the most difficult classical pieces, and Blind Tom could remember it forever and play it forever. His repertoire was in the thousands. He made a really good living, back in the day. That was a long time ago. You'd have to look up, I think it's Blind Tom is what he went by. He was one of those savants that once he heard it, he had it to every last, and and I wanted to jump from there to the guy who, most of y'all don't know that this modern scanner technology that you got, who do you think funded that? There was a guy working on it, a Dr. Kurzweil. I may have mentioned this in another video, but it was actually a black Jewish guy. His name indicates Stephen Morris. Morris is usually one of those names. It's like Gordon and some others that sound kind of like a first name is actually a Jewish name. But Stevie Wonder, who's actually pro-Palestinian, he snubbed Israel, refused to play there. But then again, he's getting influenced by people around him. But the fact is that long ago, Stevie Wonder, correctly known as Stephen Morris, summoned Dr. Kurzweil, essentially handed him a blank check and told him to make me a machine that reads books. And it wasn't too much longer until there was a Kurzweil reader in every, municipal library, central library in this country. And I think almost all of our scanner technology comes from Stevie Wonder and Dr. Kurzweil. That sounds faintly Jewish right there too. My point is that skip ahead from Ray Charles and into the not too distant future. Pretty sure it was the summer of '73. We had the Bay Area Jazz Festival, which is several days. And I chose to take myself and my Lebanese girlfriend, who actually I went to high school with, and didn't really know till later that she was related to the Salami. That was the founder of the Black September group that committed the Munich massacre. Sorry I spoke loud because of dude passing traffic, but I took her to see Stevie Wonder, and to the first time in knowledge, musical knowledge, because this is the Oakland Coliseum. It's a football stadium, very large football stadium. That was before the building of the new Candlestick, or the where the Niners were still playing in a tiny little Kezar stadium. And at one point, and they kind of announced it. This is the first. We were told this was the first you'll ever see of this. They had a huge, like 120 by 80 screen, reflective, like a theater screen. It's got like maybe little glass beads in it or something like. And they had live camera feed, projector. That was the latest technology. And at one point, Stevie Wonder, because you could see him up close. We were sitting way up. Not known for. I can't even remember what I paid because I'm sure I went to see uh, uh, Ray Charles by myself. I just wanted to go see Ray Charles. It wasn't unusual. And that night I had a date, and it was actually not long after my dad had died, and I was just passing the time until I went back to A&M to begin summer two-a-days before football season. And I took this Lebanese chick who, she was a little bit, and she had that kind of, if you remember Seinfeld, depending on the light and stuff, she looked gorgeous, and then the light wasn't right. She looked like she kind of had that raccoon eyes. She was really kind of, and she was actually hiding behind a Christian name. She was from Beirut. Stuff her family. She was a small child when they came from Beirut and was living in Foster City. That's the young Chinese lady that was here the other day. That's where she grew up in California, was on the Bayfill. Actually, I was part of that movement. There was a point in time where the San Francisco Bay was down to like 494 square miles because this, municipalities and builders would tear up old paving and tear up old foundations. They would go and dump it in the bay, essentially, and that's better than a non-sanitary. It was a sanitary landfill, and that area that became known as Foster City was all the expansion of the San Francisco Peninsula. It was all dumped into the bay onto what was really the mud flats and stuff. That's a great place to have demolition derbies. I better not incriminate myself. Back in the day, man, you could get a good working car for $25, for $50, and you can get a case of beer for like $2.10. Young boys could go out and smash up cars out on the mud flats, and not that we ever left them there or anything, or we always okay. So Stevie Wonder gets up, and at one point, and they're really zooming in on him, putting him up there. He got up, and there's, I don't know how many different kinds of instruments on the stage. He's got his whole and backups. He gets up and proceeds to, as a blind man, go and find his way around to every instrument, plays every instrument on the stage, and that was a historical first. Before that, they didn't have, what's the term now? It's live, and now it's used all the time. But it was Stevie Wonder that was behind that technological advance. And he sunk a lot of money. He didn't make no money, although there was, tens of thousands of people there that night. And it allowed the entire audience to see everything up close. I think they had a couple of different shots, a couple of different camera angles and stuff. And so 15 minutes Okay, I'm going to jump backward the other way in time and tell you about when I was still in high school. One of the things I remember the best was Sha Na Na at Wonderland. And, you know, we'd done the usual. I got my bug. You know, it's $2. And if it was bone dry, it would cost $2.50 to fill it up. Go grab a bag of weed, $10, split it 4 ways. That's $2.50 a piece. Bottle of Boone's Farm wine, $1.49. And we went up to Wonderland because we wanted to see that Bowser and his group. And what stands out in this in memory, and there was they had a minor glitch, which was really pissed off Bowser bad during the. There was there was like two guys that wore gold lame outfits. You know, Bowser was like the tough guy from Jersey and stuff. I'm sorry, the traffic noise and that dude looks like the clown character from not Krusty, but the other Sideshow Bob. Oh, so great Sha Na Na performance, Wonderland. We're not right down. I never like to get down front because I learned early on if you get down front, you sometimes are really get bad distortions because they using too much wattage. Or the waveform takes sometimes 30 feet to really to shape up. So towards the end, and y'all have all heard well, people my age certainly have, a lot younger. At one point, you know, they have a star, you know, it's his song. He's the vocalist. And in the middle of the stage, there's a little dais where he gets up on, and the spotlight guy is supposed to be correctly timed. They're cueing him with a beat. And he was asleep at the fucking wheel. Because, you know, the singer's got his back turned to the audience where he begins to shake his gold lame butt. And the fucking spotlight guy blew it, didn't turn it on the correct beat where he begins singing and shaking. And people are going like, what the fuck? And Bowser goes, shut the fuck up, you fucking assholes. This is my man's big, this is his big number, man. Spotlight guy, get your fucking spotlight right on that guy's ass, okay? It was fucking hilarious. We were, you know, it was all smoking pot and shit. We were smoking pot and lying outside, you know, slamming down Boone's Farm and shit and talking to the pretty girls. It was just Bowser went batshit on that the spotlight guy because it's supposed to be a real tight spotlight right on his butt. The guy's practicing, you know. That guy's getting paid money to follow the script. And Bowser was fucking hilarious. Hey, you up there, you fucking asshole! You know, he was. Hey, you. No, I can't quite do Bowser right now. I'm just not in character for it. And it was a great show. We'll always remember it because it wasn't that serious angst music. It was kind of happy, you know, 50s kind of happy days kind of thing. Because a lot of the rock and rollers were trying to really be heavy ass philosophers, which eventually led to the whole angst music and metal and heavy metal, thrash metal. Went a bad direction for a long time. So I think that's all I'm going to do for right now. Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, and Sha Na Na. Later.